A great evening to you, everyone, and warm welcome to Business Live. Coming up in this edition of the bulletin, some Eurobond holders go after insurance firms linked to payment of financial instruments after the government missed grace period of settling coupons and principals. Also, the bond market declined by about 52.50% in market turnover in February, the month that saw completion of the domestic debt exchange program. And coming up in this bulletin as well, energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleiman warns of a possible crippling of Ghana's extractive sector if there is no proper consultation. We have details of these and many more. I am Pious Kojo Backah. Pleasure you could stay with us to our very first story. Some of Ghana's Eurobond holders are going after the firms that ensured payment of the government financial instruments. Now, this was after the Finance Ministry missed out on the grace period for making the necessary coupon payments. My colleague Joy Viafe has the rest of the story.
Anytime government raises funds on the international market, these monies are insured so that in case of a default, they can fall on the insurance, or the companies that insure these investments will step in and deal with the necessary payments. Well, it appears that is what is happening now. The Bloomberg News is, for instance, reporting that the panel of investors and banks have ruled that Ghana missing out on the coupon payments of these foreign-denominated bonds counts as what they describe as failure to pay event. This should pave the way for a payout of the default insurance contract tied to the country's debt. These banks and investors that are working under what they describe as the Creditors' Derivative Determination Committee made the decision at the meeting last month. The ruling, according to Bloomberg, triggers a payout of the insurance protection on Ghana's sovereign debt. The COG default swaps covers over $100 million. Sources say the companies are taking these actions because there has been calls on them by the investors that bought into Ghana's Eurobonds. It is not clear for now how Ghana's recent decision to freeze interest payments to these creditors and also engage the Eurobond Creditors Committee over its debt exchange program didn't influence this action. In Ghana, the Finance Ministry has announced that it should pay coupons on bonds that didn't participate in the debt exchange program by the 13th of this month, 2023.
And more on bonds, the bond market declined by about 52.20% in the market turnover in the month of February. Well, this is according to the Ghana Stock Exchange's summary of February 2023 report. There is more for you in this report.
Of February was the period in which the government completed the domestic debt exchange program. The volume traded on the bond market was estimated at 9.17 billion cedis. This represented a decline of 9.48% compared to the total volume traded in the month of January. The year-to-date volume traded of 19.19 billion was 46% less than the 35.96 billion traded in the same period last year. Meanwhile, the equity or stock market performed better in February this year compared to January. According to the exchange, the GSE Composite Index performed better in February to recover some of the losses recorded earlier in the year. The top price gainers for the month were Unilever, Total, MTN Ghana, and BOPP.
Moving on to some other stories we have for you, the government has rejected all the bids for the sale of treasury bills from investors last Friday. Joy Business is learning that government rejected the offer because the 35% plus interest that investors, largely banks, were quoting was too expensive. It was seeking to raise 2.78 billion cedis from the T-bills this week to refinance maturing bills worth 2.55 billion cedis, but it described the yield as too expensive. Joy Business understands that the government wants yields of below 30%, and that is why it rejected the bids from the investors. Some analysts say government is mindful of the rising cost of interest on the short-term securities, particularly when it is timing the cost of the debt instrument to be line with the domestic debt exchange program. Now, the Executive Secretary of the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, Dr. Ishmael Aka, says the introduction of the tariff reckoner will help consumers manage their consumption, especially in the period of tariff increases. The reckoner explains how the tariff is applied and billed, including how much is needed for a specific amount of water and electricity. Speaking at the Consumer Service Clinic in Sunyani, Dr. Aka urged consumers to make good use of the reckoner to ensure transparency. Precious Semevo has more.
Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, in a bid to improve customer service, organized a consumer service clinic for service providers and their clients in the Bono East and Ahafo regions in Sunyani. The clinic also afforded the Ghana Water Company and NEDCO the chance to explain complaint resolution processes and respond to nagging concerns of customers, including billing, meter acquisition, and customer satisfaction issues for resolution. Bono Regional Minister Justina Osu-Banahene called on PURC to develop measures to end the banter between providers and customers.
These essential utilities also contribute immensely to the socio-economic development of the country, and as such, there is a need to jealously and religiously sustain quality service delivery at all times. The banter between customers and the utility service providers arises as a result of the disconnect between the service providers and customers, as well as poor service delivery among others. In this regard, there must be a concerted effort by the PURC to address this gap.
Regional Manager of PURC, Patrick Osei-Entwi, said out of the many complaints received, they retrieved about 43,000 cedis for customers.
We received a total of about 1,076 complaints from both utilities, and out of that we were able to resolve about 1,062 of those complaints for the year 2022. We call something an adjustment. So let's say if your bill was supposed to be about 2,000 Ghana cedis and you were given 3,000 cedis, we'll make sure that 1,000 is taken off. So we did that for quite a number of customers, and the total compensation came up to about 43,000 Ghana cedis for customers. Now, and vice versa, last year we carried out a campaign called the Payment of Bills and the Illegal Connection. Now, this activity we did together with the utilities, especially NEDCO. And during that period, we were able to recover about 24 million Ghana cedis plus from institutions and individuals who were owing NEDCO. So last year, that was one of the great achievements that we achieved as a commission.
The Executive Secretary of PURC, Dr. Ishmael Akka, said the development of the tariff reckoner application is to explain the bills and help consumers manage their consumption and build transparency.
The reckoner has been developed. We have an app. It's on our website. It helps you to manage your bills, because if you are in the lifeline 30 and below, you don't pay much, and people want to manage their electricity bill within. First, you can key in the amount of money, and it will give you the unit you will receive. If the unit is different from what they give you, it means that there's an issue. You can petition PURC. Again, you can also input your unit, and it can give you how much you should pay. Again, if you go and say, I want to buy 40 kilowatt hour, and the amount is different, again, you can petition PURC. So one, it promotes transparency. It helps you to manage your own bill. And again, it also helps you to have confidence in the system.
Precious Semevo, Joy Business, Sunyani.
Let's now go to the Volta region, where residents in that part of the country have lauded the social and economic impact of hosting the national parade of the 66th Independence Anniversary celebrations. Business operators indicate they have recorded good sales traded in the environs of the Regional Youth Resource Center in Adaklu, which hosted the parade. They appreciated the government's decision to rotate the National Independence Celebration anniversary. There's more in this report.
The 66th Independent Anniversary Parade, which was hosted here at the Volta Regional Youth Resource Center in Adaklu, has just come to an end. However, residents are still here at the premises celebrating their anniversary. We will be speaking to some of them on the economic impact and the social impact of hosting the anniversary here in the Volta Regional capital, that is Ho and Adaklu.
Already got it to us. We are really celebrating. You can all see what is happening here. It's been a successful event. At least it has brought to us a kind of development. When you look at the edifice, it's so beautiful. Personally, I'm so happy because at the end of the day, I'm able to establish something beside the event ground, and it's actually making an impact. I mean, it's giving us some little money. So with that alone, I would say thank you to Nana Akufo-Addo for bringing this great thing to us here.
So we are very, very happy that this year's 16th anniversary came to us, and we are so happy. And it has brought us a whole lot of sales. For some time we have not been making sales, but this made us so many people. You can see around so many people are here. We are here to sell. Some are here to have fun. So you can see everybody is happy over here.
It's also going to help our tourist sites in the region because I know the Regional Coordination Council is have put plans in place to actually market the tourist sites in the region. And for us individuals who are into businesses, that also brought a lot of engagement. We shared contacts, which is going to bring future businesses. We are making some cash on the ground as well.
It's a great opportunity because a lot of sellers make a lot of sales. As you can see this way, after the organization, people are here buying drinks and all of those things. So it's a good initiative.
Would you want the event to be held here next year?
Over and over and over again. I would want that. The president bringing this anniversary here has been very successful. And we will bring more to the region. We are very happy. Basically, we made a little sales. We have some 2 or more products to go, but we are almost done. So that it's good. It's good.
More on the Independence Day celebration. Group Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director for the Ghana Oil Company, GOIL, Pious Kojo, is asking Ghanaians to support locally owned businesses to thrive. This, he believes, is key to ensuring economic growth. Speaking to Joy Business at the Independence Day Walk with GOIL event, he also entreated locally owned businesses to work collectively with stakeholders within the Ghanaian economy to expand the operations.
At the event, Kwame Prempeh promised to champion the introduction of quality fuel. He called for a more collective effort to support indigenous companies.
Our message to Ghanaians is that there is hope for this country. GOIL was once run by foreigners, Ajib. It was a small company. Ghanaians took over, and because of the confidence that we have in ourselves, we are beating all the multinationals in this country. The Total, Vivo, Engine, whichever. We are beating all of them. Because we are Ghanaians and we have confidence in ourselves and we believe that our country deserves the best. So we are telling Ghanaians that on this Independence Day, let's do a reflection. Let's love our country more. Let's sacrifice for our country. Let's work hard. And with hard work and integrity, Ghana will become like GOIL.
Retired Ghanaian professional boxer Professor Azuma Nelson underscored the need for various corporate institutions to embark on such initiatives.
You know, exercise is medicine. So if you are exercising, if you are exercising, the doctors can rest. You know, and if you are exercising, you can keep your money. You know, because if you are sick, you have to take some money to the hospital. You know, if you are sick, when you go to the hospital, sometimes the people are so many that the doctor cannot get a good time for you to check you out. So just go ahead and do the exercise and keep your body shape, you know, and keep yourself fit and keep your money in your pocket and let the doctors rest.
GOIL said it will continue to contribute its quota to the development of the country.
A reminder, you're still watching Business Life with me, Pious Kojo Backah. We're taking a quick break. When we return, there'll be more for you. Please stay. Welcome back. This is still Business Live here on the Joy News channel with me, Pious Kojo Backah. Sunu Assurances PLC has said it is determined to grow its business consistently over the next 5 years to become one of Ghana's most sought after underwriting companies across the country and beyond. This, according to the Managing Director, Prince Adayemi Adetuwo, can be done through a collaborative effort with its agents. Speaking to Joy Business, he underscored the need to improve the state of insurance in the country.
The Managing Director for Sunu Assurance Ghana, Prince Adayemi Adetuwo, at the event called on Ghanaians to cultivate a culture of insuring their property. He went further to express the uniqueness of the new channels and service offerings and acknowledge the hard work his team put into the development and successful execution.
Sunu Assurance Ghana, we are one of the leading insurance companies in Ghana, and we didn't feel that to be at least rewarding our agents, our sales rep, because they are one of the reasons behind our tremendous growth in the last 15 years or so. I believe, because of their loyalty to the company, so we are very consistent in the last 12 years or so, rewarding their trust, their hard work, their belief in the company, their loyalty. Because as at last year, they were contributing about 35% in our to our premium income last year. So that's why we think that we need to reward them for their loyalty, because we need to reward them for their loyalty to the company. So as I said, they are a force to reckon with. They are reason for our growth, and we believe that if they are treated well, at least they will give their best to the company, so that we deem it fit to be rewarding every year. And every year, at least it's taking a new dimension.
Board chairman of the company, Pa Kwesi Yankee, commended the efforts of the agents. He also called for more work to ensure an increase in insurance penetration in the country.
The insurance industry has become very competitive, and as a result, it's become rough. But in all this, I've asked my people who are the Sunu team to always keep their head above water, play within the rules, and at the end of the day, they'll be rewarded for whatever it is that we shall always be ahead of everybody else.
Overall winner at the event, Mercy Otabel, expressed her gratitude to her colleagues and the company.
It has not been easy. I think for 2020, 2021 and 2022, it's not easy. To be an insurance agent, you have to make sure that you serve your clients very well. You make sure you give them a good product. So what I can say is that if you want to win, like if you want to be like how I've been now, you need to be hardworking.
Sunu Assurance aim is to deliver insurance to the doorstep of Ghanaians from all walks of life at their convenience.
On to one of our headline stories. An energy strategist, Dr. Yusuf Suleiman, has warned of a possible crippling of Ghana's extractive sector. According to him, lack of proper consultation may lead to a fall in the export of gold to generate revenue. Interacting with Joy Business's James Ishan, he also cautioned against rushing to force unitization in the upstream petroleum sector.
Ordinarily, unitization should have been an excellent idea, especially if it is mutually agreed, between the parties that are involved. And the reason why, in principle, why unitization could be good, when blocks are sometimes operated segregated, when they are operated independent of each other and they actually communicate, what they call a straddle. If they communicate and the one party is drilling here and another party is drilling here, you cannot optimize the production within that enclave or that reservoir. So in that context, unitization is very important. It's good. However, it has to be voluntary and it has to be a mutual agreement between the two parties, because before two parties unitize, they have to share data, and a credible data shared will add to the ability for them to be able to maximize whatever they can churn out from the ground. They should make sure that every single chain of it is devoid of mistakes and faults. And I'm worried about even the oil side. We've seen that government-run institutions have not been run efficiently. So another way the policy can succeed is a phenomenal efficiency from the downstream side. Let's say the place like Bust and then MPA, for instance. If they are very efficient, the oil side is okay. But my main problem is always the gold side. Let's not champion a policy that will have negative impact on these two sectors. So yes, I still stand that we should champion sustainable measures, and the sustainable measure is to look for ways of sourcing the product locally. And we have refinery store is there. We have a local refinery, a private refinery coming on stream. These are ways that I think we can minimize the pressure on the city, and that is more credible and more sustainable than the current policy that we have. Yeah.
Now, a quick one, based on what you're saying, so it means, do we see the gold for oil deal crippling the gold or the extractive sector?
The potential is there, and this is how it's going to look like. If you look at the quantum that we need, it means we're going to be able to churn out about 200 ounces of gold, 200,000 ounces of gold. And that will mean that if we want to do 100% gold for oil without any importation, from any other pen, there's not going to be any export of small-scale mining. That's what it's going to be. And we may even have to add some amount from the, the multinationals, a small bit of it. And so in that case, exporting gold is a whole business by itself in Ghana. And it's also a potential conduit that we can get, hard currency entering that could beef up. So the potential is there, and the potential is that if we obstruct the ability for our miners to be able to export, if we obstruct the ability for them to be able to bring out the gold, and where will the obstruction come? The obstruction where I'm seeing it, potential where I think it can come is if you don't do the required investment. Bear in mind, they had people who invested into the small-scale mining, and once they bring it out, they take their share. Government over the years hasn't taken interest in the small-scale mining. So if government doesn't do the required investment to be able to continuously churn out the required ounces of gold we need, then the policy is going to suffer. And that could even also distract the smooth operations of the small-scale mining. But if government want to come up, to invest, take a different turn, invest into the small-scale mining, give them capital to churn out the gold for them, then that could be an avenue. But I think the potential for them to distract their smooth operation is there, and the higher time we tread cautiously, the better.
Dr. Yusuf Suleiman in that interaction with my colleague James Ishan there. That's it for Business Live for today. I am Pious Kojo Backah. You can always get business stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Always a pleasure serving you to enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye-bye.